To say that this season has been a huge meltdown for Ferrari is a huge understatement. From being on top of the F1 world in the first 3 races of the season to now struggling to even keep up with the Red Bulls is a huge disappointment for both the team and their fans. For much of this season, the Italian team has been plagued with multiple issues, ranging from reliability to strategic mishaps that have cost the team a good number of wins. And through it all, team boss Mattia Binotto has been steadfast in his belief in his team and their capabilities. But as we now near the season's end, with Red Bull clearly winning both titles by a mile, has Mattia now come to his senses and realized that things have to change if they want to win a title in the near future? Or has the Ferrari boss still not learned anything yet? Well, let's talk about it then. But before we do, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on our latest uploads. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. As mentioned in the intro, the team has endured a lot of unreliability and strategic blunders this season, which has cost them a good number of race wins that could have helped them in their cause to win a title. But even with a copious amount of mistakes, it seems as though Mattia is still blinded by his team and their capabilities, as he would say in a recent interview. We do not need to change people, but we certainly need to change some things. The way we are communicating, the way we're getting to the process of making our decisions. Changes are required. Adding value may be necessary, adding people as well, but changing people is not a path I want to go through. That's an old way of addressing issues. Overall, the team did a fantastic job in developing the current car, but still, there are situations that need improving. Mattia would then say that he thinks that the reliability issues that they have faced have cost them more than their questionable decision-making. The reliability, because the reliability cost us at least a couple of victories, and in order to win championships you need to be reliable. Race management, strategy, and pit stops. Areas of improvement are required. I think during the race weekend you may always do mistakes. I think being perfect is almost impossible. You need to take a decision on the pit wall, but we need to be the best. But while Mattia and his crew of strategists and mechanics have taken the blame all season long, former Red Bull and McLaren driver David Coulthard believes that the drivers have to take in some of the blame. As we all can remember, Charles Leclerc has made a few mistakes of his own that have ruined the team's chances of winning the title as well. A case in point would be at Imola, where he would spin off the chicane trying to chase down Sergio Perez. Another would be his shocking shunt at Paul Ricard that led to controversies on whether or not it was actually his fault. But nevertheless, Coulthard would point out these instances, saying, "I've got to believe so, because he's been part of the team for a long time. He actually has a pretty calm head in what sometimes can be a fairly, emotional environment. I don't see him spinning the car off into the barriers. I don't assume he's head of strategy any more than he's head of reliability when it comes to his engine. Yes, he is the team principal, and he has to make strategic decisions on the people that are actually in control of those departments. Those are the decisions, first of all, that I would see being changed or affecting things in some way before I would look to replace him." Former Ferrari president Di Montezemolo would also be asked about Ferrari's current state, to which he would reply with, "Should the team manager be changed? Who am I to say?" commented Di Montezemolo to L'Equipe. "Ferrari is like the Italian flag, a national monument. Before I brought Jean Todt to Maranello in 1993, I thought about this choice for a long time. There was a huge circus in the media. If I was looking for a new boss, I would look outside Formula One. However, if we only look at what Red Bull Racing or Mercedes-Benz are doing, the problem will not be solved. We have to reinvent ourselves, create a new dynamic. Ferrari have built an extremely competitive car. One person alone does not win world championship titles. Formula One is a team sport." Di Montezemolo would go on and give the impression as well that he thinks Mattia fits the role of a technical director more than a team boss. "Mattia Binotto is intelligent enough to always protect his team," said the former Ferrari president. "He catches the bullets for his people. You have to understand mistakes and then clean them up. Binotto is an excellent technical director, but running Ferrari's racing department is different. Formula One is something very special, added the Italian. Just being a good manager or marketing man, that doesn't guarantee success in the Premier class. You need passion and dedication. You need to be present day and night. You have to be very political in your approach to support your team. You have to be strong and keep your squad together. And as for their drivers, Carlos Sainz has recently aired out his frustrations in his recent interview, saying, "It's been rather upsetting. I found it very frustrating that after so many good years in F1, I come into my first year having a competitive car, and it's the car that I struggle the most with driving. I find it incredibly frustrating, especially knowing how good I am and how good I've been the last few years in F1. How, in the first year that I have a car to win, I find it such a difficult car to drive for my driving style and to set it up for my liking. But then the growth progress has been huge during the season, and I managed to find a much better level. But then as my championship hopes were starting to pick up, I had this DNF in Austria that completely stole the positive trend. Since then, it's been the penalty in France, the difficult race in Hungary, the podium in Spa, but even if I've been a lot more competitive since Canada and Silverstone, it's still been difficult to get a bit of a run of good results." Carlos would also give some insight into how the team has been handling the criticism it has received this past season. "I think it's very difficult to generalize about where we should have been more brave or more cautious. I think you would need to pick one by one and analyze them independently," said Sainz. "I'm pretty sure one by one, every result or every conclusion will be different. For me, it's all about the continuous improvement and continuously finding ways to make the right calls at the right time. And there have been a lot of times during the year where you've done the right calls, and no one has come to us to say, 'Oh, you did the right call,' or congratulate us for that. But on the other hand, when there's been 2 or 3, let's call them bad calls with hindsight, there's been massive criticism about it. And I find that a bit tougher in Ferrari. I felt like when I was in McLaren, or in Toro Rosso, or in Renault, when there was a big mistake on strategy, no one would come and point it out and criticize you and put you down to earth like as much as they do in Ferrari. And this is a fact that I think everyone can agree with." But despite the lack of consistency within the team, Sainz would say that he still believes that he will one day win it all as a Ferrari driver. "We're going to improve. Keep improving as a team and make sure that we also get to a level where we're winning championships." While the team is still positive, given that they just threw away another title this year, the worrying matter is that both the drivers and Mattia and his crew believes that there will always be next year to try again. The same mentality they had when they had Sebastian Vettel driving for them. I think at some point, and I believe you Tifosi watching this would agree, that most would rather have the team maximize every opportunity to win a title. And this season has just been the complete opposite of that. But I digress. So what do you think? Should Mattia still keep his job after throwing away yet another title under his leadership? Let us know in the comments section below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't.